Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call the West Covina City Council to order. This is Tuesday, October 18th. We will begin with our invocation led by Reverend Mary Hollifield from United Methodist Church of West Covina, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Let us pray. Our most gracious God, we do thank you for this evening, for this opportunity to have communications and to have decisions made about our fine city that you have given us. And so, dear God, I approach your throne of grace holding this agenda with the hopes that this is your agenda too, that this is within your will, and that every decision that is made, every bit of communication that takes place will be done with respect to you, and that everything that is said, everything that is done would be to your glory. And so, dear God, just ask that you would continue to bless this city, that you would bless us as we strive to be good stewards of all that you have given us, and how we look forward to that day when you will say to us, "Well done, my good and faithful servants." And I pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please join with me in our pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend. Roll call.
Mayor, Chairman Herford.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem, Vice Chairman Tui. Here. Councilmember Commissioner Armbruster.
Here.
Councilmember Commissioner Lane.
Here.
Councilmember Commissioner Sanderson.
Here.
Okay, we're all present. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yes. Before you, there is a supplemental report pertaining to report number 4, which is the Energy Efficiency Block Grant. There was just a minor change to one of the account numbers. It's just an accounting issue from finance. Other than that, the report remains as written.
Okay, thank you. We did not have a closed session tonight, so we'll move on to presentations. Okay, folks, first presentation tonight is Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through 31st. I'd like to call forward Mr. Dr. David Alfaro and Chief Don Fernald from West Covina Rotary. Please come forward. I could also have our Chief of Police come forward. That'd be great, too. Don, I know you're going to tell us a little about Red Ribbon Week and some of the activities, so thank you for coming tonight.
Good evening. The ceremony or the event is going to be held this Saturday at West Covina High School, starting at 7:30 to about 11:30. We'll have the fire department, police department, drug enforcement agency will be there. And the one thing that we're really proud of is that the Camarena family will be coming up Friday. They're going to spend the night here in the city and then be there Saturday. It'll be Mika Camarena, who's Kiki Camarena's wife, and his son, Kiki Jr. Kiki Camarena is the DEA agent, was killed in Mexico, which started the whole ribbon rally in the United States, and was established by President Reagan. So join us. I'm up for buying everybody pancakes. Or not.
Thank you, Don. On behalf of the City Council and the citizens of West Covina, thank you for your contribution to the community Rotary and everybody involved. Chief, you want to step in? We'll get a picture. On behalf of the City Council, we proclaim this week Red Ribbon Week. Really is a great event. If you can make it, I encourage everybody to go. We also have 2 resolutions accommodations for retiring police officers. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. I think we'll do this one at a time. If I could have Rudy Lopez come down. Rudy, or step forward. Rudy Lopez is retiring after 28 years of very distinguished service. you know, he's kind of a grizzled veteran when you look at him now, but 28 years ago, his first assignment was actually working undercover as a high school student at Monrovia High School, and got a commendation from then Chief Billy Tubbs in Monrovia. He's done everything. He's 2003 West Covina Police Officer of the Year. He was involved for many years, led our award-winning Explorer program, our SHOT program. He was a school resource officer at South Hills High School. They didn't confuse him with a student back then. And I think what he's most well known for is our public information officer for close to 2 decades. He's been the public face of this department in very many high-profile situations. He did the cable TV show for a number of years. He's front and center when the LA Times and then the news media come to town. Just a wonderful, wonderful police officer, public information officer, and just one of the finest officers this organization has produced. He certainly deserves a nice round of applause. Rudy Lopez. You know, I did forget there's something that every police officer wants when they retire. It says retirement badge. So, Rudy, we didn't forget about that. So, there you go.
Yeah, well, let me present this stuff and then we'll go from there. On behalf of the City Council, this is a resolution accommodation. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Rudy, you've been an asset to our community and just a great friend of all of us. So thank you for years of service. I speak for everybody on the council, and we're going to miss you. But we'll see you around. You're going to a lot of events still. So thank you for everything you've done for us. There's a resolution. This is from the police department itself in recognition for 28 years of honorable and active service to the West Covina Police Department and the community, exhibiting devotion to duty, loyalty, trustworthiness, diligence, and the performance of your duties as a police corporal. And another proclamation for from the city. Thank you again. And last but not least, the obligatory city tile for your family room. Okay. Let's take a picture and then we'll have you say something. Ken, can you split the flags out? Frank Wilson work here.
I just want to say thanks to my chief, the City of West Covina, the City Council. I've had a great career, and I wouldn't have thought over 32 years ago that I would be doing what I did for 32 years. But this department gave me a lot of chances to do things that truly brought me out and made me what I thought was a good officer that took care of the City of West Covina. So with my family here, I want to say thank you to all of you here, and of course the city. You've taken care of me, and I thank you very much for that. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Rudy. We have another resolution accommodation for John Cloud, who's also retiring. John, please come forward.
Now, Officer Cloud concludes 25 years of service, 26, with the City of West Covina. You know, he really comes from a public service family. His wife, Mary, who's here tonight, is a dispatcher with our department, and John has done everything in his career with the department. A wonderful, wonderful human being. He was involved. People forget about it now, but we had a very high-profile bus hijacking back in 1996, 95. He was the lead investigator on that. Saved an individual's life in 1996. A lot of officers go through a career and they don't have that opportunity to be front and center. He's a hero. He worked with our peer advisory group selected by his peers to counsel other people that are going through trauma in the organization. He was a member of the Chiefs Advisory Group for many, many years, was pretty free in telling me how to do my job better. And I was talking to our city manager today, and he reminded me that sometimes the public has a different perception of police officers than we do. And so often your ability to do customer service and treat the community well and take care of the residents who live and work in this city is a critical importance, and we know that. But and looking back at John's career, he's one of the very few police officers I can honestly look back and say over 12 years, nobody ever complained about Officer Cloud's performance, and that's rare. I mean, this is a tough job. Even people complain about my conduct. Nobody ever complains about Officer Cloud, and to go through a career and just make everybody happy is almost an impossible measure of success, and he's achieved that. He's going to be missed very, very much by the West Covina Police Department and each of you. And John, you have just as many plaques as Rudy. I left them up there. I'll give them to you right as soon as we're done. And I do have your retirement badge as well.
Okay. Thank you. There you go.
John, on behalf of the City Council and the residents of West Covina, thank you for your service to our community. We are proud that you worked for our department, and will always be a member of our department. So here's a proclamation on behalf of the City Council. And here's our obligatory city tile. There you go. Thank you so much.
Well, before I get to thanking all the people that I've worked with and so forth, I'm going to thank my family and recognize them. I think that's probably the most important point for me at this point. And the chief said my wife Mary's worked for the police department for a long time in the dispatch center, and without her support over the years, it would have been a lot more difficult. And she was able to work her job in dispatch at all the crazy hours they work and still raise 3 fine young boys over here. I say boys, my oldest one with the beard at the end there, Joel, is 20, and then Kevin's 18 and Cole's 15. And then I have my father-in-law, who was a near 40-year employee here at the fire department, Danny, and my mother-in-law, Rosemary. Thank you guys for all the support. My mom and her brother, my Uncle Dave, who retired from Montebello PD, who was a huge influence on me in getting into law enforcement. And I can also mention that my oldest, Joel, down there is looking to be a police officer too. Out of the 3 boys, he's the first one that's kind of going to take up the torch maybe and go into law enforcement. And then to all you in the balcony up there, it was great working with you guys. I know I'm still going to see you around, but I do miss you. I've been in my other endeavors now, but you guys are near and dear to me, and you're just like all the other retirees I've seen get up here and say this. It is true. And believe me, after all these occasions where I've watched people up here in their retirement, when you're here, it's you really start to become crystal clear on those thoughts. So it was great working with all you guys. They probably worked the most with Rudy, detectives, and 30 years of near 30 years working here, and you've been a great friend, all of you have. So, and I appreciate all the council's work over the years, Mayor Toohey. We've probably had the most contact over the years. I appreciate all you've done for us, the whole council too. And I guess I think I've gone through everybody. And Chief, thanks for some of the opportunities you've given me. I appreciate it.
Okay, that concludes our presentations. We'll now move on to oral communications. This is the time when residents can come up and speak to items of importance to them and within the purview of the West Covina City Council. We'll take just a pause here while some people exit. So thank you, guys. Yeah, we did. Okay, our first speaker tonight is George Ogden. Okay, we'll come back to George. How about Travis Tibbetts?
Mayor, council members, I appreciate you letting me talk tonight. For those in the audience that do not know me, my name is Travis Tibbetts. I am here speaking on behalf of the West Covina Police Officers Association. I am currently the president of West Covina's Police Officers Association. And I wanted to speak tonight and say that anyone that wants to be elected to city council is worthy of mention. The Police Officers Association takes it serious when we give someone our endorsement. And we have given Mayor Herford our endorsement for re-election. We've given Councilmember Armbrust our endorsement for election. And the reason why the Police Officers Association has done this is because we truly feel like you guys are going to make the right decisions for the police department, for the city, and ultimately for the citizens of West Covina. I want you guys to know that we've not only endorsed Mayor Herford for this election and Councilmember Armbrust, but we've also endorsed in the past Mayor Pro Tem Toohey. We've endorsed Councilmember Lane, Councilmember Sanderson, and the reason why we've done that is because we honestly feel like they make the right decisions for the police department, for the citizens of West Covina, and for the city. We don't always agree on issues. We understand that. We will have disagreements. But in the end, we truly feel that you guys are going to make the right decisions. And I hope to see Mayor Herford reelected, and I hope to see Councilmember Armbrust elected. And that goes for the Police Officers Association as well. Thank you very much.
George Ogden. My name is George Ogden. I'm a resident here at the City of West Covina. I've been requested here by the League of Women Voters to remind the audience and the City Council that we're going to be having a candidates forum here Thursday for both the school board and for the City Council. The school board will be starting promptly at 6 o'clock, so we hope, and at 7:30, I believe, is when the forum for the City Council members. I'm pretty sure that 2 people up here will be attending, as well as 2 people in the audience. Yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure that Mr. Sykes is telling her. And we hope this will be a very informative forum for both the school board and the City Council. For those, I think, are we out over the air, over the internet? We are. Yeah, if we have any questions, are they welcome to call City Hall?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you have any further questions, go ahead and call the City Hall at the numbers that's provided probably on the internet site. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deborah Ashby.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Deborah Ashby with the South Coast Air Quality Management District, and I'm here tonight to give you the good news that our West Covina is going to be a site for our Mow Down Air Pollution Electric Lawnmower Exchange event, which is Saturday, October 29th at the Faith Community Church, which is at 1211 East, but I hope I pronounce this right, Badillo Street?
Badillo.
Badillo, oh, okay, not Spanish. Okay, and it will be you register ahead of time, so you'll have a time to get your mower, but it's an all-day event. Residents of AQMD's four-county region are eligible. They bring a working gas mower and exchange it for one of 5 electric mowers, and I brought the flyer for you, and I understand you have it up on your website as well. There's 5 different options, including one that's for the first time this year is a self-propelled model, which was based on some of the feedback that we got. And just in case you didn't know, but one gas mower in typical use for a year pollutes as much as a car driven 22,000 miles. So it's really important to get the gas mowers out of our basin as much as we can and replace them with a cleaner option of the electric mowers. You can get more information on our AQMD website. Also, you can register there, and you can also call the number, which is 888-425-6247. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I'm just really pleased. I brought a lot of flyers for you tonight to kind of like get the word out. I put some out on the table out there, and I'd be happy to bring more if you need them. So I just want to thank you for that.
Do you have any questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joanne Wilner?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow council persons. It's been a while since I've been here, but I do try to follow. Unfortunately, there's no web for it or cable. On the item number 4, which is in the consent calendar, your energy efficiency conservation block grant amendment and award of bid approval item. I am not opposed to it. I'm definitely for it because we do need to clean up our emissions. But whenever I've been to the senior center currently or in the past, I find that the place is very poorly balanced as far as the air circulation. I know the room that Inner Valley Health has some of its lectures, which are very good for those who don't know about it, is often very hot, and they even have a fan in there to cool down. And I understand the computer room is also not done well. And I am hoping that this replacement here of their units will be taking care of the uneven flow problem in some of the areas of the senior center. Because there's nothing like having an unbalanced system, and it also is not good for seniors if it gets too hot or if it gets too cold. So I hope that that will be taken into consideration in this particular contract. The other thing is just a general statement that would like to hope that we still can get us back on line with the transparency of seeing and hearing us on the cable and computers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes oral communications. Shannon, I'm pretty sure that those air conditioning changes will not only reflect energy efficiency but comfort levels at the senior center too. Is that correct?
Yeah, we should be able to make some improvements. We're not replacing the duct, so it may not solve all the problems, but it will be an improvement.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we move on to the consent calendar. Is there any items to be pulled?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Lane. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Armbrust. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Seeing none, that'll be a 5-0. Next item is a public hearing, General Plan Amendment number 11-2.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Toohey.
due to conflict of interest rules and that I do work for the Charles Company, I don't work for him in West Covina, but I will excuse myself from this meeting.
Okay, we'll wait for Councilmember Toohey to exit before we move forward. Okay, this matter set for public hearing consists of a request for a general plan amendment to add a mixed-use category and to change the land use designation from regional commercial to mixed use, and a zone change from regional commercial to specific plan number 24, Lakes District Specific Plan, for property located at 301 South Glendora Avenue. City Clerk, will you verify that proper legal notice has been given?
Yes, that's verified.
Thank you. This time I shall open the public hearing on General Plan Amendment 11-2 and Zone Change number 11-2. There will first be the presentation of the staff report, then we shall hear those from those in favor of the proposal, then those opposed. Finally, those in favor will have an opportunity to give rebuttal to any testimony received in opposition. Mr. Pazman, who will present the staff report?
Mr. Anderson will do that report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The proposed project is located on the former Wix site at the west side of Glendora Avenue and south of the theater building on Lakes Drive. The proposed development is a mixed-use development that includes 412 residential condominium units and 20,000 square feet of commercial space. This commercial space will be located along Glendora Avenue on the first floor. The remainder of the development would be residential units. There would be 5 stories in height. The perimeter of the site would be developed with residential units, and the parking structure will be located on the interior. What I mean by that is the darker areas here are the residential units, and here, these are the streets. So from the outside on the street edge, you would see residential units, and the parking structures would be buried in the middle. That will become clear as we come to a section later on. 4 large common open space areas are proposed for the residents in this location, this location, this location, and here. Each unit would have a patio or balcony. A park fee is required for all residential units to ensure adequate park facilities in the city. The proposed development would be evenly split between 1 and 2 bedroom condominium units that range from 700 square feet to 1,600 square feet. And a tentative map is proposed to allow the air rights subdivision for condominium purposes. Both Glendora Avenue, this is Glendora Avenue, and Lakes Drive, which is on this side, the theater is located here. Both Glendora and Lakes are proposed to be redesigned. On Glendora Avenue, a 17-foot dedication is proposed with the creation of angled parking spaces, 34 angled parking spaces that are similar to the angled parking spaces that are by the theater and the restaurant buildings to the north of the theater. On Lakes Drive, 19 angled parking spaces are proposed there, which would actually take one of the lanes, and the lanes would be reduced. The eastbound lanes on Lakes Avenue or Lakes Drive would be reduced from 2 to 1. So you'd end up with 1 eastbound lane and 2 westbound lanes. The building would have a maximum height of 64 feet. The exterior of the proposed building is stucco with a mixture of brown and beige colors. Portions of the roof have a metal overhang to break up the continuous roof line. The front elevation, which is what you're looking at here, the Glendora Avenue frontage, the white areas you can see here and here are the commercial space, and the residential are above and behind. There's a courtyard area in the central part of the development that allows access into parking garages for the commercial space. And what you're looking at back here is sort of back behind a little bit, and that's kind of access to the condominiums. This shows you a close-up detail of that area, that central portion, where you can see that the access to the condominiums here, and you can sort of start seeing a little bit better the access into the parking garages, which are semi-subterranean. They go down a few feet when you go in, when you drive into them. There also, you can see that there's on here there's a close-up and shows that the commercial portions would have a metal canopy that would cover the front part of the elevations. This is the proposed view along Lakes Drive, which would be opposite of the theater. You can see this is all residential units. There's no commercial, so you have ground floor residential as well as 4 stories of residential above. And you can see in a close-up the balconies that are proposed. And somewhere I'm thinking about this area is where the access to the parking garages for the residential units is. And again, that goes through, and the parking decks are behind those residential units. You can also see that there are stoop entries that are available on all the units along Lakes Drive, so that if a person who lived in that unit wanted to walk to a nearby restaurant or a nearby use like Toys R Us or the theater, they can do so by just walking out their door and across the street. This slide may be a little confusing at first. It's a cross-section. The upper portion is a cross-section from east to west, from Glendora Avenue here across to the Elephant Bar and the bank property over here. So that's what you're looking at here. You can see that on the first floor you have the retail with 4 stories of residential above, and then back here you can see you have 5 stories of residential. And in the center part of that is where the parking structure is, with several levels of parking deck. The bottom works similarly, although this is a north-south cross-section with the Lakes Drive frontage on this side and the Walnut Creek frontage on this side. And this one you can see better how that the structures are buried in between residential units. So really from no spot on the property would you be looking at a parking structure. Any place you look, you're going to be looking at walls of residential units or commercial. The proposal is to provide 844 parking spaces in the development. 720 spaces are for the 412 residential units, and 124 spaces are to be shared by the commercial spaces and for guest parking purposes. Access to the residential would be completely separated from the access to the guest parking commercial. Access to residential would be off of Lakes and Walnut Creek, and access to the commercial would be off Glendora Avenue. On September 27th, the Planning Commission voted 4-0 to approve the proposed precise plan and tract map. In addition, they voted to recommend the approval of the mitigated negative declaration of environmental impact and the general plan amendment and zone change, which are before you tonight. So the council tonight is reviewing the mitigated negative declaration, the general plan amendment, and the zone change. The general plan amendment is proposed to modify the text of the land use element of the general plan. Land use designations such as commercial and industrial are established in the land use element. The zoning map is an implementation of the general plan land use element. Currently, the general plan does not have a land use designation for mixed use. So the proposed text changes to the general plan do 3 things. They establish a mixed use land use designation. They secondly add an exception to the density cap of 20 units per acre for mixed-use developments in the Civic Center and allow it up to 75 units per acre, and they add goals and policies to encourage mixed-use development. The general plan amendment also changes the general plan land use designation from regional commercial to mixed use. A zone change is proposed to change the zoning from regional commercial to specific plan. A specific plan allows the city to customize the zoning standards based on the unique character of an area. The proposed Lakes District specific plan is the 24th specific plan that's been adopted by the city, so it's not a new thing for a specific plan to be adopted, and it does establish standards for the proposed mixed-use development. The proposed project is the first mixed-use proposal that we processed in the city. It represents a new design concept that can be a catalyst for improvements and create a dynamic atmosphere that could attract a wider range of activity in the area. The proposal would also redevelopment an underutilized property, a large underutilized property, and it would add jobs in the area. And for that reason, staff is recommending approval tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the staff? Councilwoman Armbruster.
It says here in the case, Public Works has estimated about 59,000 square feet of on-site park space that would result in a reduced park fee of about $1.3 million. What PDF park would that be, Jeff? I know I kind of put you on the spot right now, but Do you think you could look into that and get back to us?
I can answer that. That would go into that would go into District D. Yes, District D, which is the central area of the city, Cameron Park area.
Okay, thank you.
Although, I mean, I could add that the councils in the past used those fees throughout the city for certain projects.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions? Jeff, on the entrance is on Glendora Avenue. So if you're going northbound on Glendora, is there a left turn pocket there, I assume?
Yeah.
How are we handling that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
On the going north on Glendora to the entrance there, I assume there's a left turn pocket. I guess I could look too.
Yeah, I believe there's room for a left turn pocket there.
Is that required, or?
I don't recall that that was required. I think there were still some questions on the street plan that we were going to work out during the construction phase.
Okay.
We would want to have it there if at all possible.
Okay. And then, obviously, in the neighborhood, we noticed the residents that live around there, I assume.
It was 300-foot radius was notified. There's not a lot of residents around there, but the residents within that area and the property owners and the businesses would have been notified,
Yeah,
or were
businesses
notified.
were all notified too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Question?
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Roberts.
I forgot to ask this. It had said that it estimated the project would generate 45 new jobs, but it didn't say anything about construction. Do you kind of have an idea or an approximate how many jobs that would create for construction if this passed?
Yeah, an estimate would be a couple hundred based on the fact that it's a large building and there's a lot of different kinds of construction activities that would have to occur there for the building to be completed.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Sanderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question in reference to the type of housing. I did review the staff report. Is there going to be anything for senior housing, or it's just it's like purchase condo?
Market rate, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it is going to, there's not going to anything be reserved for affordable or for seniors.
Okay.
Just market rate.
Thanks.
Okay. We'll move on to public testimony portion of the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor? Okay, seeing none. I'm sorry?
You have two cards.
I think they're both opposed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. I guess Royal Brown, you're in favor?
Royal Brown, Aroma Drive. This general area of the city of West Covina on the east side of Vincent has been generally a disaster for the city of West Covina. When I first moved here almost 40 years ago, we had a neighborhood commercial area that was very successful. And it was replaced by the city council into what is now the Lakes project. And we've seen a disaster in many of the buildings in the Lakes development. Actually, mixed use would have been a much better thing 40 years ago for this area to be considered, because we already had an established two regional shopping centers in the city of West Covina, Westfield and Eastland. Try to turn the Lakes into something that hasn't turned out at all. We lost a neighborhood commercial area that had been very successful. Lots of small businesses, almost none of who have survived to this day. It was a disaster in trying to move them. We have a remaining neighborhood commercial operation on the east side of Glendora, but it's been stranded there. This mixed use will be the first probably positive thing that could happen to that neighborhood commercial area along Glendora. The developer has wisely centered his development facing the neighborhood commercial area. The small commercial things that will go into his development will augment the stuff across the street. The property on the north side of the theater is distressed today. This plan doesn't address that at all. It doesn't need to. It's going to stand by itself. The city of West Covina has not considered mixed use until now. It's something that's been going elsewhere in the country with great success. So I'm here to urge the changing of this from the regional commercial concept that's totally out of date for this area, because this is now a built-out area. The city of West Covina doesn't have a lot of empty property to be built out. We don't need things like furniture stores at this time. There was a little, over in the neighborhood commercial recently, there was a little furniture store across the street from this, went out of business because just not enough furniture was being sold in the city of West Covina, even with WIC shut down. So this will provide a really improvement to the area. And all the people that are going to live upstairs over the commercial areas will provide more customers for the neighborhood commercial across the street. And the restaurants, like over along Vincent, we have a successful restaurant over there, and a bank, which are all part of the needs of this type of area with a mixed use thing. So I'm happy to see that this corporation is proposing spending a lot of money, the Charles Company, to get hold of this property and do something with it that will enhance the lifestyle of the people who live in West Covina. And mixing recreation into the housing is an important thing. We see it all over. Condominiums depend upon have their own recreational facilities. A mixed-use development is going to need the same thing to be successful. That's what's going to compete out in the marketplace of people buying and investing in a development. So I would strongly urge the City Council to approve this change in zoning and the enabling things that have to go along with it so that we can see something new go in that will augment the needs of the surrounding area. And the neighborhood commercial is a great boundary to protecting the apartments and homes to the east.
5 minutes.
And the commercial area called Mayfield's Shopping Center doesn't need to be protected. The freeway present, we have all types of commercial development surrounding this. So I don't see how this can hurt anybody. It just expands the basis. So I would urge your approval of these zone changes and let us move forward with a new concept here in West Covina of mixed use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other speakers in favor?
I can't hear.
Any other speakers in favor? Just, John Shoemaker.
It's fine, Steve. I know you know who I am. By the way, congratulations on Grandpa Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Is this your first, or?
First grandchild, yeah.
You got 5 more to catch up.
Uh-oh. Take a while on that.
Such is the fun. I think it's a beautiful looking project, and definitely hope all of you approve it, because it's something that our city needs, a different concept, and just looks like it would be something that will help that whole area, hopefully even more, and down the road maybe other areas will open up that the city will be able to do those. The one question I do have, with the way the economy is and everybody's concerned about jobs and things like that, is there any real way of telling when you say 200 jobs if they're additive or if they're just keeping other people who are working or anything else? As far as I can tell, there probably isn't, but you guys are the experts at it. Do you know offhand? I mean, really, it's not something you have to go research for me, but,
It's an estimate.
Oh, okay, so, yeah, The idea were, the 42 though were more of, those are the permanent jobs that would be working in the stores and those types of things, but all the others are just, we hope. And they're probably temporary in nature anyway, at best. Okay, that's all I need, that's
Yeah,
all I
you
was
probably,
wondering.
I imagine a maintenance crew and then,
Yeah, and then the people who actually work in
the
you know,
stores, yeah.
I think the construction jobs were focused on the different trades that would be involved, whether you're iron workers or whether you're carpenters or whatever trades you may be involved in that.
That'd be people working on, but we don't know if it's additive or if it's just keeping different companies busy, but at least it keeps
them busy
for
as
a while,
opposed
it keeps people busy. And hopefully small companies like the one that Shelley has will be able to get, not her directly, but small companies like Shelley who do that type of work will be able to get something from it. I know you won't be able to, but you know, others will. So again, I hope you approve it. Thanks a lot.
Any other speakers in favor? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to speakers in opposition. Joanne Wilner.
Oh, I got the wrong glasses. I just want to say one thing positive. I am in favor of the mixed use concept, but I am not in favor of this particular project. With hardly a blink of an eye, the Planning Commission approved a specific plan for the Wicks property, which, if approved, will change the character and appearance of our city forever. By creating a new mixed-use zone with standards of 75 dwelling units per acre and 75 feet elevation, which is 5 stories. Currently, multifamily dwelling units per acre is just 20 maximum. This site will have 412 dwelling units, and that could represent an increase of 1,000 people. There is safety and maintenance costs to the city to service such an increase in population, such that the estimated income or benefits in the financial way there are overstated, because nowhere did I see the word net after cost to the city for additional police and other protection and street and sewer and all that kind of maintenance. And besides that, the new mixed use will be for 75-foot elevation or 5 stories. Oh, I did read that already, sorry. The open space is private and hidden, so that with the idea of the Vision 2020, which was to have a downtown area, which this certainly would represent, that would have open flowing areas and places to walk, this is not it. The project is short, 200 parking spaces. Because the units will be sold at market rate, there will be more cars than are estimated. There already is a parking shortage on Glendora Avenue, as evidenced by the inability of the restaurant replacement for the Great Wall to meet their requirement, because they can't find the parking. This plan is massive and bulky, as you can see from the pictures. It'll block out the unofficial landmark, which is the 6-story Foothill Transit Building, formerly the Home Savings, Washington Mutual, Wachovia, that's across the street. West Covina is and desires to be mostly a bedroom community with commercial amenities, but not a city with a downtown shopping area consisting of 6.57 acres of 70 units per gross acre, We did away with the 45 dwelling units per acre, if I recall correctly. And to top it off, an area that has 5-story buildings all the way from the movie theaters on Glendora Avenue to Walnut Creek Parkway and Vincent, where Elephant Bar and Bank of the West are located. You might say we already have the tall building, but that is basically, as I said, the unofficial western landmark for the city. I've never considered it, and I don't think other people have, a place to be hidden by other buildings that will be almost as tall and just create this big mass. Excuse me, oh boy, gotta talk faster. How many people carry packages for blocks? Probably very few, especially seniors. We get into our cars. This development will create a tremendous congestion in an area we want to improve from the current slow flow of cars in the commercial sections. Trip credit for traffic from old Wick's store was that when Wick's was a very busy business or not. It's nothing now, so no credit due. Because a specific plan is proposed, numerous ordinances, development requirements, recreation areas, etc., and setbacks can be waived.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
she has to be...
Oh, please,
Seconds. Okay.
yeah. A 200-space parking deficiency is not a laughing matter. Development of a replacement restaurant for the vacant Great Wall pending, I said that. The creation of a mixed-use designation and defining the max use, and that inadequate more. Oh, also that 2-bedroom spaces per unit is inadequate for as far as parking goes when there are more than 2-bedroom units. Look at our neighborhoods now. That's big city congestion and not the lifestyle I desire now, nor when I moved here in 1956 to raise a family. To decrease our city density, it was lowered to 20. Per the housing element, we are short of low-cost housing. This development is going to be for market rate prices. People might have RVs and other such toys. Where are they going to store them? The proposed land use is also...
Mr. Mayor, the speaker's time has elapsed.
Okay,
land
thank you,
use
Joanne.
appropriate, slip it in. Okay, I oppose this, and I think we should look to the Glendora Avenue and include it and not leave it in the cold, and that develop the blighted, empty areas first around here and elsewhere before adding to the inventory of emptiness. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other speakers in opposition? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing testimony. Public testimony portion, open it up for council member questions or comments. Councilwoman Lane.
I'll just go ahead and make my comments. You know, I want to thank staff for your hard work in preparing this report. I know you did a lot of studying and a lot of hard work, and so did the Planning Commission. So obviously this area is a very difficult area in our community, and we see the vacant properties in around the theaters, the Wicks, and I'm concerned that this area will become blighted in the future, and I don't want to see that. I think this project will help revitalize the area. It'll bring in more people to patronize the new and existing businesses that are there. And I believe it'll create a new synergy for the area. I think it's well designed, the buildings are attractive, and I believe it'll be an asset to our community. So I'll be voting in favor.
Councilwoman Sanderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, Speaker had stated that we're short 200 parking spaces. Is that correct, Mr. Anderson?
On page 3 of the staff report, the first full paragraph on that page, it kind of covers the parking.
Well, yeah.
And the municipal code would require more than the specific plan does. That's what a specific plan allows you to
Right,
tailor.
and that's what I understood. Okay.
Yeah,
It just was misleading, I think, when it was saying we're short 200 parking spaces.
Yeah, and it's actually 160 less than what the municipal code requires, but this is a mixed-use development. So the
Right.
idea is that you share parking between the commercial uses and the guest parking.
Right.
The other thing that they're doing to add is they're adding the 53 on-site, on-street parking spaces.
Right. So it's not your typical condo use as if it were separated from, this is encompassing a mixed use, and that's the way I thought I understood it. So I
Yes.
just wanted to get clarification on that. Thank you. And I also want to thank staff for all the time spent working with the developer, and the developer obviously spent quite a bit of time in doing the drawings, and it helps us get a visual of what's going on there. I think the only negative to me, obviously, is the parking, but I think it looks like you're addressing it, and you feel, I think, throughout the project process, we'll make sure that that's all addressed, because you want people to go shopping, you want people to visit this area, you want these businesses to be successful, and I think doing a project like this will do that. I think bringing people, bringing residents and bringing businesses will revitalize that center. I also feel that people that live there, they'll be able to walk to the mall and walk to the shops, and that saves fuel. And I think I think most cities, even the city of Covina, is doing a project up by their downtown area that is not as, I don't think it's as, I'm not sure of the size of it, but I don't think it's quite as large. But and then when people talk about a blighted, isn't Wicks already kind of blighted? I mean, it's been empty for a long time, so I was actually really excited to see this. And I'm all for open space. I do agree with that, and I do agree with the bedroom community. However, this is kind of obviously with the mall and all the new shops. I was just looking at the internet and the Nordstrom's rack coming, and we're just having it. Along the freeway corridor seems to be our little, our big community where you want your residents and whatnot to go. So I think this is great. I think they've done a good job designing it, and it looks like you can walk through the park areas. They're in the front, aren't they? They're open, is what it looks like at the top there of the picture.
The one in the front here, which is this one, is open. Yes.
Okay, but the back will be, because there's like a path that goes around, but that backs up to the streets. Is that going to be fenced?
Yeah, the streets will be fenced, so this will be a private area, not accessible
but
to the
the front park area is open.
Correct.
Okay. Again, I think if this is a good way to bring this, and that was the other question. We have other large buildings, the lakes. How many stories is that? I don't even off the top of my head.
I believe that's 4.
Yeah, it's 4. So, and then we've got the parking structure there that's 4. And, I think actually, my opinion, it goes very well in that area, and I'm excited about it, and I think that's going to be a good project. So I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Armbrust.
I concur. I also believe the medical center, the Lakes building, the theater. The theater is, what, almost 4 stories? Even though it's 1 story, but
It's a higher
height-wise?
building. Yeah.
Okay. And the medical building, correct? Is that 4 stories?
East Valley it's 3 or 4 stories, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. You guys did a great job, and thank you to Charles and Company. This looks great. I like the fact that it, like what Mr. Brown said, that it enters in, that you can walk out. Those are the areas over there that people aren't shopping at, people aren't going to. It's nice to be able that we can create this downtown feel. A lot of people have been wanting that. We're moving the farmers market down there. Again, people are going to be parking and walking. And hopefully it's going to create a synergy. It's going to create more revenue to the city by people coming in and shopping. There's going to be a lot more people at the theater, because the theater was kind of hanging on by a thread. And now we can get really great, hopefully, retail businesses coming in over by the theater. Macaroni Grill is gone, and now this is something that we can hopefully use to draw in. So I'm in favor of this.
Okay, thank you. I had a question Mrs. Wilner brought up about the revenue. What are the revenue projections on an annual basis for the city?
Our estimate for property tax is $855,000, almost $856,000 annually. I'm trying to read upside down here. Sales tax is $36,000 estimate, and business license $2,600.
Post-park development fees of $2.5 million, so that's a pretty good chunk of change. I probably on the council been the one person that is not embraced mixed use as much as everybody else, maybe. I do have concerns a little bit about some of the density to it. But I will say this, that area for a long time has been a topic of discussion in the city, and mixed use has always been something that's been proposed there. It will absolutely energize the area if successful. People will begin to patronize the theater again and some of the restaurants. And we've seen around town that we bring in good restaurants, and people are very willing to go to the restaurants. So it definitely is a place where you could basically live without a car and have all your amenities there. So with that, I'll support the project and look forward to a new concept for our downtown area. So we have two resolutions. Let's first take, actually, do we have a number for the resolutions? We're not going to read them, I guess. Do we need a number?
First resolution is 2011-54. Second resolution, 2011-55.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve
So moved.
Resolution 2011-54 and 2011-55?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Sanderson, second by Lane. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Move on to the ordinance. City clerk will have a roll call on this.
Councilmember Lane?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanderson?
Aye.
Mr. Tui's not here. Councilmember Armbruster?
Aye.
Mayor Herford?
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. So
And this is an ordinance approving zone change number 11-02.
that concludes
The introduction.
the public hearing, correct? Okay. Next item on the agenda is item 9, Finance Department. Could we have Councilmember Tui please come back in?
And you can start the staff report. Councilmember Tui is in the room.
He's right here.
Okay, we have item 9 is a letter of credit substitution for the 2004 lease revenue refunding bond series A and B. Quick staff report. This is actually going to save us, I think, about $78,000.
Yes, about $72,000. This is just a substitution of a letter of credit, which currently costs us 1.5%, and the new offered fee is 0.9%. So about $72,000 per year savings with a 3-year guarantee.
Okay, any questions? Do we have a motion for approval?
I make a motion.
Moved by
second.
Armbrust, second by Sanderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Notice how fast the meeting goes once I get back.
Yeah.
Any AB 1234 conference reports? No? Okay, council member comments? Any comments? Any reports? I have none. Do we have any adjournments? No? Okay, I'll
Make a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Armbrust to adjourn. I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We're adjourned.